Hey, everybody, welcome back in. It's another Bears Latest. I'm Brandon, and it is Tuesday, June the 10th. Let's dive right in. So, Germaine Pratt, you're probably wondering, Bears fans, who the heck Germaine Pratt is. He is a linebacker that is now a free agent. He has been cut loose by the Cincinnati Bengals. He's been with the team for a number of years, is also one of the remaining members of that Super Bowl team from what seems like years ago now. But he's been cut loose. And I found this interesting because, one, he still amassed 143 tackles last year in the Cincinnati defense. And if you remember correctly, that defense did regress quite a bit last year under Lou Anarumo, who has just been picked up in the offseason by the Colts. So one would think that maybe the Colts would be a future home for him. But I look at this and see that our linebacking room, and I know we've been talking about some of the additions and potential with like the Ruben Hippolytes of the world and everything like that. But what about Germaine Pratt? I mean, he has experience. He's only 29, and you could get him at a really unique prove it type of deal. Where he can prove himself and maybe go back into free agency. They do mention that one of the reasons why he was cut was because his speed is down, and they thought that they thought that he looked like he was regressing. But you could also look at the fact that that team was struggling on the defensive side of the ball too. But a guy that's getting 143 tackles, and you're telling me that he doesn't have it in the tank. I'm looking at that. I'm going. I would definitely like to bring this guy in for a visit. I want to see what's going on here. I mean, you could talk about how Jack Sanborn was lacking in speed and everything, but he didn't have over 100 tackles last year. He was good. He was serviceable. But I look at this and I'm going, man, you surround him with some other good players. Give Dennis Allen a chance to try to see what's going on there. That gives Ruben Hippolyte an opportunity to rotate in. You can use him in specific pass or packages, or he could carve his way into a role by working his way up through special teams. I think that it would be something that we should definitely look at. And I think it would be an interesting signing. Now, if he can't play the outside positions, if it's a scheme issue, then okay. But at least it's worth looking into. I would definitely research this and bring him in for a visit. This is possible that you could have a diamond in the rough that just fell right into your lap at the right time. What do you guys think? Leave a comment below, and let's move on. So we're going to stay on the defensive side of the ball. Now that we're getting into mini camp weeks for some other teams, we have some interesting no-shows. Trey Hendrickson being one of them, and also T.J. Watt of the Steelers. We've been talking about how the Bears need edge help. And these guys are both MIA right now. They're both holding out for new contracts, and they're looking to try to force their way out, or at least to force a payday. So I want to start with Trey Hendrickson, and we've been talking about him a lot here on this channel, but I think it's interesting to note, though, they did just release Pratt, who we just talked about. That does open up some cap room there for them to possibly give that to Hendrickson to rework the deal. I think it's something to look at in the coming days, but I don't know. I feel like they would be moving quickly on that to get that deal done, and they might now because with T.J. Watt holding out too. Who knows what's going to happen there? So I think this is a very interesting week, and it could be an opportunity where the Bears could look to try to make a move for one of these guys. It's possible. If I'm going to pick one, I'm going to probably end up picking Trey Hendrickson just because he's a little bit younger. TJ Watt, he's going to be 31 later this year, and not that 31-year-old edge rushers are not good. I don't think I would want to invest in a guy that heavily with that much tread. But then again, I guess you could say the same thing for Trey, Trey Hendrickson with his tread wear and everything. So it was also interesting, since we're staying on the subject here, that there was a crazy rumor out there that the Bears were at one point looking to trade DJ Moore to try and get trade assets to then turn around and flip for Trey Hendrickson. And I was very, very skeptical on that. And after doing some research and reading posts from folks last week, DJ Moore has a $60 million dead cap hit. It doesn't matter if you trade him to another team. The team that signs him to that deal assumes that cap hit, or that dead cap hit, and it's $60 million. There is no way the Bears are going to fall for something like that and get left on the hook for that. So my BS meter is going sky high on that one. So I don't think that's happening. But I mean, there's still trade possibilities here. Maybe flipping, future draft capital. I just don't know. I think if I were to pick one of these guys, I'd pick Trey Hendrickson. Just because I know Dennis Allen has worked with him, and I'm not saying that Dennis Allen can't get anything out of T.J. Watt, because I mean, my God, look at the talent. He's got 5.5 more career sacks than Myles Garrett, and I believe that is part of the reason why you're seeing TJ holding out, is because he should be paid the same as Myles Garrett or better. But he's also 2 years older, or going to be 2 years older than Myles Garrett, so you can kind of see some difference there. So, what do you guys think? If you had to pick one of these guys, which one would you pick? What kind of trade package would it look like? Are we giving up some premium draft capital? And then is it going to be a sign and trade? Are we looking at trying to get a long-term extension put together for one of these guys? What would it look like? Or if you're like, oh, hell no, I do not want either one of these guys. We should work with what we have on this roster. Or if you think of another edge, like we talked about Kayvon Thibodeaux the other day, throw that down there in the comments there. I'd like to see what you have to say on that. So we're going to keep rolling defense. Today is a defensive Tuesday. And a reason why I wanted to bring Andrew Billings up is because a lot of people have been speculating that since he's coming off of an injury and he's 30 years old, and the Bears are transitioning their defense, and the fact that there's no dead cap hit for this guy. He is owed over $3 million this season, which is not a heck of a lot of money. But if you're looking for a couple of really good role players, maybe younger guys with potential, that money can go a long way. But the question is, are they going to trade him before week 1? Would you trade Andrew Billings? My answer right now is no. I'm not trading Andrew Billings, because Andrew Billings made our run defense better when he was playing on the field, and that was pretty darn apparent last year. If you watched the defense before he went down, and then the remainder of the year where they had to hold on for dear life, there is a clear difference in yards allowed, especially rushing. You gotta keep that in mind, that Andrew Billings is probably right now the most experienced, most capable guy on our roster that is a 3 technique. And I think you cannot forget that. Do not sleep on that. This guy, he is built like a tank. And I think you do not let a guy like that go, especially when you're talking Dennis Allen likes big body dudes out there on the line. He kind of reminds me a lot of Akeem Hicks when we brought Akeem Hicks in, and he was on the line. And I mean, he was a fan favorite. Just watching him and his antics, he has a lot of that same charisma, that same motor and intensity. Plus, the way he's been looking in the off season out on the field, he reminds me so much of, if any of you are old heads like me back in like 2001 2002ish, if you can think of Keith the Tractor Trailer and Big Ted Washington, when we stuffed those guys right in the middle of that line, those guys were plugging up holes and blocking dudes left and right, and they were built and massive. And I see Andrew Billings as that same. So before you go and write a guy like that off, you got to get him out there and see what he can do, and see what he can do with this new staff. Now, keep in mind, you've got a guy like Gervon Dexter, which I want to talk about Dexter for a moment. There's been reports coming out about how Gervon Dexter has taken the step up in getting all of the defensive linemen, or getting a good number of them together, like your Montez Sweats, your Austin Bookers, Grady Jarrett, the newly signed Grady Jarrett for this year, getting these guys together down in Miami and working out together. And one of the reasons why he did that is he was ready to take that leadership role and step up, and he wants the line to gel, to work well together. And selfishly, he wants to work with Grady Jarrett too. He wants to pick Grady Jarrett's brain. He wants to, figure out ways to learn to develop his game and go the next step in his career. So I found that interesting, because Gervon Dexter is only 23 years old, but it feels like he has been in the league for a long time. And each year, Gervon has continued to improve and has shown growth in his game. And I believe, especially if he's working with Grady Jarrett and learning how to be a stronger, three tech, maybe Andrew Billings could be dispensable if those two guys are playing well together. And you've got Shamar Turner learning behind there too, which, he'll be a little bit further down the depth chart. Maybe you don't need a guy like Andrew Billings because you've got the right tandem out there, and you don't want to do Andrew Billings dirty and leave him sit down on the depth chart. Give him an opportunity to play elsewhere. Maybe you do get something of value there and open up that cap room, and then continue to improve your roster. As of right now, he's a bear week one, Andrew Billings, plain and simple. But I'm also going to be watching, carefully over training camp, and even in some of those preseason games. Even though a lot of stuff is vanilla, I want to see what's going on there with each of those tackles in the preseason, and I want to be watching what's going on in some of those joint practices with some of the other teams they've got scheduled this summer. So. Keep an eye out. What do you think about Billings? Would you like to see Billings go so you can get something for him and get some money back? Or that dude needs to be on this team because he's a spark plug, he's a role player, good leader, and reminds you of defensive tackles from the past. Guys that fit that mold. Let me know what you think. Now we're going to change gears. We're not going to stay on defense. This is not a completely defensive Tuesday. I want to talk a little bit about James Cook, who we've been rumored to the Bears last week, and I think things are a little more eye-opening for me today, because I read where the Bills are interested in J.K. Dobbins as a possible replacement for James Cook, which led me to believe that Cook to another team is a possibility, that they feel that they could get something of value for Cook and get his replacement at a lesser price and still get heavy production. I found that super interesting, and it made me think, well, if that's the case, then maybe the Bears are a good fit. But then you also have that elephant in the room, which is DeAndre Swift, which is a almost $10 million elephant in the room. And also another dead cap hit of 10 million for this guy. I don't see that happening. So you have to find the right trade partner. So are you trading him to Buffalo? If you're going to also sign J.K. Dobbins, maybe because Dobbins is going to be your bruiser. And then you've got that receiving running back and the real finesse running of DeAndre Swift. But I don't know because you've also got Ray. What's his name? He was a rookie last season. The guy, if y'all can think of it, put it out in the comments for me. Running back out of Kentucky, who was who showed some really good flashes last year. I'll tomorrow's episode. I'll apologize for that and clarify, but name is escaping me right now. But I just there's a lot of logistics that are going to have to be worked out on how this is going to happen because I don't think you go and trade for James Cook unless you're doing something with DeAndre Swift. So either he's going to go to Buffalo or you've got another destination for him. But I don't see you cutting him and being on the hook to pay all that dead money and not really getting any relief from that. So what do you guys think? Do you think now that Nick Chubb is off the board and the fact that Buffalo is now showing interest in J.K. Dobbins, do you think that opens the door for James Cook? What does the package look like? We've talked about Swift and a fourth rounder for James Cook, but if Swift isn't going, what's it going to take to get him if it's just draft picks? Leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. If you think they shouldn't do a darn thing whatsoever and work with who they already have in-house for this year, and then maybe look for your replacement in 2026, put that down in the comments too. Guys, that's all today. Short and sweet. We knew it complete. It's been great. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share any comments. If there's things that you want me to check out and discuss in depth, please put it down below. I love hearing from Bears fans, and you guys are some of the best people around. So have a great day, and as always, bear down.